Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to call this August 29th, 2025 special City Council meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. We are going to start with citizen comments. I'll start with Carol Spencer.
Get the hell in late, huh? Okay. I know some of you read my Republican Carol blog. Some of you don't, and so I brought one of my blog posts to read to you tonight, and it's called Honoring God and Country, and this was written after your March 4th special meeting. Apparently, the Bastrop City Council doesn't need the blessings of our Lord at special meetings, nor do they need to honor our country and our state. Last night, Bastrop Mayor Pro Tem John Kirkland opened the meeting and immediately moved to citizen comments like tonight. It felt odd and discomforting for elected officials to be conducting business without prayer and without dutifully honoring our flag. The Mayor Pro Tem and the City Manager need to modify their special meeting agenda template to include an invocation and the pledges immediately. In 10 years in elected office, I can't ever recall starting a meeting without an invocation and a flag salute. In our case, our council president led the flag salute and an individual council person offered the invocation, except for special occasions such as reorg meetings or those where a new council person was sworn in. There we had invited guests. Special meetings are simply council meetings called in addition to regularly scheduled meetings and for special purposes. They should open with a prayer and flag salutes just like regular meetings, but in the city of Bastrop, they don't. And then I have your rules and procedures, which I'm sure you're well aware of. Your invocation is specifically stated for regular meetings, but your flag salutes say you shall, and it doesn't split up regular or special meetings. So I call on Mayor Pro Tem John Kirkland and City Manager Sylvia Carrillo to immediately add an invocation and pledges to the U.S. flag and Texas flag to all City Council meeting agendas. No special guests need to be invited to do so. The special guests are not the point. The prayer and the pledges are the point. Not doing so sends a message that prayer is unimportant and that there's no reason for elected officials doing their jobs to honor the flags of this great nation and state. Not doing so, I feel, is a slap to every single person who has served in our armed forces and who has died for the freedoms enumerated in our Constitution and under which this council operates. Let's get this fixed. Thank you.
Next is Carl Reese. And Mr. Reese, when you come up, please give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Carl Reese. I live at 136 Paker Street, Cedar Creek, Texas. I'd like to address the rules of procedure for city council and boards and communications of the city of Bastrop, Texas. Page 14 deals with the agenda. Item 4.1 is a call to order. Item 4.2, pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. The council shall recite the Pledge of Allegiance first to the United States flag and then to the state flag of Texas. The council welcomes individuals and organizations, both young and old, to also join in. I'm just wondering why that was not done at this meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Henley. Name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Alex Henley. My name is Alex Henley. My address is 313 Cedar Street. I really want to speak off the cuff, but I don't want to forget stuff, so I'm just going to, and I'll be shorter than 3 minutes. I want to address something that I saw last week I'll avoid specifics, although if you're watching, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I think it's imperative for our elected officials and city staff members to be held to a higher standard of ethics and decorum. Last week, someone was called up to speak and signed up to speak and was called up to speak and was shot down here, and I thought it was just handled poorly. The grounds seem legitimate to me from the research I've done and people that I've spoke with, but it was definitely murky. At the time, the city manager or the city attorney seemed to contradict, even though I think that was an accident. It did seem outwardly to be contradictory to how it was handled, and I think the situation could have been handled in a manner that cleared it up rather than it seemed to be made worse the way it was handled. And I'd like to encourage the people that have been taken into the leadership of our community, the council, the staff, to not only lead by intelligence and diligence, but also by grace and respect for those people that you represent. I too have been on the receiving end of being publicly disrespected as a citizen by a city employee recently, and I don't find it very professional, and I know there are better ways that we can conduct ourselves. I don't need any more time. I just would like to encourage, if you feel like you've done something, maybe just reach out to the person privately. I think that's what I would suggest, is just handle stuff not in front of people, but privately would be more respectful to everybody in the process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Henley. Next is Sandra Myers.
Hi, I'm Sandra Myers. I live at 1318 Highway 21 East, Page, Texas, 78659. And I'm here in support of the 9-hole par 3. I'd like to give a little background. I actually graduated from SMU 45 years ago, and we were the 1979 national champions. I was on a women's golf team there. And my daughter then took up golf, but my daughter experienced cancer when she was age 13, and it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. She battled it for about a year. She's cancer-free. She's doing great. But we got Mr. Cervantes to work with her on her golf game. Mind you, he was saying the same things I would, but she wouldn't listen to me because I was her parent. So it was really kind of funny, and Mr. Cervantes worked really, really well with her, to the point that she actually went through school on a golf scholarship at Texas Wesleyan University, and they started a women's golf team up there, and her name had kind of gotten around, but he had gotten her in shape after she battled cancer. Until she graduated, she did very, very well. She got her degree. She's doing very, very well. I am in support of the 9-hole golf course because my husband and I have this little thing going on that he claims that he beat me in golf, and because he didn't want people thinking that he was taking advantage of a pregnant woman, so he said our match was scheduled the day after Stephanie was born. And I forfeited. And I said, not on your life. But anyways, we would really enjoy the par 3 9-hole course. We could continue our competitive spirit. But I think it's also a great way to get kids off the street and involved in some things. And whatever Mr. Cervantes has set up, when I retire, I would love to be able to help him and support it and really grow the game of golf. I know that when Stephanie was here, there were a lot of girls involved in it, boys too. But golf is a growing sport, and it would be really good to have the kids participate, do something extracurricular instead of games. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Gilbert Cervantes. Please give us your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Gilbert Cervantes. I live in 107 Camoy Court in Bastrop, Texas. I'm a business owner for my father. We've had it over 87 years here in Bastrop. proud to have my daughter born here, and to me, it's the greatest city that I know in the state of Texas. I'm here just to make some few comments. If you haven't heard them before, I know you have. This proposed, hopefully, project one day aims to bring something affordable to the golfing community for our young people and juniors, golfers, seniors, citizens, taxpayers, while fostering physical activity and community engagement and an equitable access for all races and ethnicities. The vision of a Part 3 course is to create a welcome environment where residents of Bastrop can enjoy the sport of golf without the barriers of high costs or lengthy time and commitments. Unlike an 18-hole facility, a Part 3 course offers shorter rounds, making it ideal for beginners, families, seniors, and those with limited time. And by keeping green fees affordable, we aim to ensure that golf is accessible to all, particularly underserved groups who may not otherwise have the opportunity to experience this great sport. A proposed Part 3 course would be designed with sustainability and community needs in mind, incorporating environmental friendly practices and ensuring minimal disruption to the local landscape. We envision a facility that complements Bastrop's natural beauty and aligns with the city goals for economic development and quality of life and improvements. Thank you for your consideration, and hopefully one day we'll approve this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. Mr. Rick Rivera. Name, address.
Hello, my name is Rick Rivera, 262 Trigg Road, Bastrop, Texas. I am in support of the Part 3 as well. As an avid person who likes to be active in sports and activities, it's a family-friendly environment. Looking for something that we can. We all know that there's a shortage of recreation in this community, and this would be something that would be affordable, efficient, and effective for not only just community but also visitors. You know, it's something that's very unique. There's nothing like it between here and there's one in Houston and there's one in San Antonio that we've discussed, and it's something that people love to play and have, you know, just a good time with your family, friends, youth, elderly, of all ages, to be able to enjoy this game that has actually has grown since the pandemic. Out of all, you know, besides pickleball, golf has been the most fastest growing sport since the pandemic, because it is outdoors, and you know, it's just the main reason many people don't play the game that want to play is because they don't have time, and it's efficient because it's half the size and it's a smaller space and it's more efficient. So that's the main reason many people don't play, because we don't have anything like this. Even with the courses that we do have in town, it's very unique because of the time that it takes to play. So somebody could go play 9 holes in a lunch hour. So there's opportunity for local businesses to sponsor holes. We could host tournaments for the youth. The opportunities are endless. There's a lot of opportunities to generate revenue. There's a course that I know of in San Antonio, Part 3. They generate $3 million a year in revenue. So there's a lot of opportunity here. Not saying that we're San Antonio, but this is a fast-growing community, as we all can agree, and it's something very unique that we can offer to our community members and visitors as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Ashley Coy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Coy. I'm at 613 Charles Boulevard, Bastrop, Texas. I am a local here. I graduated from Bastrop, and I'm talking on behalf of supporting the 9-hole par 3 course as well for Bastrop. I graduated in class of 2010. I was a golfer. I graduated from there and then got a almost full scholarship to play at Texas A&M University in Kingsville. After I graduated from there, before I moved on, my uncle Gilbert was the one who helped pave that way to get me into an opportunity to pay for school, and saw that as an access to use the game of golf. But I will speak for the game itself. You can't find a sport that's a generational sport where you can get your grandpa, your grandma, your uncle, your little cousin, or your parent as well, and yourself, where you can have that inclusivity with everyone. Like my cousin Rick also mentioned, we need more recreational, and I want more kids involved. That was an opportunity for me to play and see an access to go where I didn't see college as an opportunity, but when I had that sport, I was like, okay, there is an opportunity for that, and I want that for this generation that's coming up, and to find an opportunity. After I graduated from college, I got my master's at A&M in event management, and then went from there to work for a nonprofit with the PGA for 5 years as events and fundraising coordinator. Along that, I ended up working with the Dell Technologies that was here. So it is possible and doable if we just have that opportunity to make that something that someone doesn't see that, it's doable. So I just want to thank you for your time and hope it's a consideration.
Thank you. Melinda Larson.
Hi. Melinda Larson, 1320 Farm Street. I guess my first question is, do we have any cheese to go with some of that whining that's going on tonight here? I'm very tired of this divide by a certain people in this room that I've mentioned before at council meeting could put a stop to it, but they continue not to. And as a matter of fact, I suspect a couple of people on our council contribute to this divide. And you were voted to work with council members. And I haven't seen it. I've seen a huge divide. You think you can hide or run, but you can't hide. Mr. Nelson, I've asked you before to put a stop to this. I've asked you that.
Please speak into the microphone.
I've asked you to put a stop to it. I just don't understand why you don't. It's not helping your cause. It's hurting you. And I'm sure you're a fine man, but it doesn't look good. Thank you very much.
Okay, so those are all of the citizen comments that we have. We're going to move on to item 3A, City Manager's Report.
You can go to the next slide, Colin. No, just go to City Manager's Report, slide 6, right after this one. It's okay. While that pulls up, you're probably wondering, why are folks talking about a par 3 golf course? What are we talking about? Well, and the reality is Bastrop is so small you can not keep a secret. I'll just say that. I will start by saying that I am super, super, super happy that Hewitt Zollers is here and that we are finally able to get the bridge and the bridge associated park off. I don't know if council paid attention or if anybody out in the real world of Bastrop paid attention, but that bid came in significantly lower than what we had originally anticipated. Significantly lower. Now, what does that mean? That means the Parks Board's got a whole list of projects the Parks Board wants to do. And we met with the Parks Board a few weeks ago, and we met on a different topic, however. We met on a project tracker, and that was the Parks Board wanting to keep the Parks Director accountable for projects and repairs and maintenance to the park. And those conversations morphed into additional conversations that are, how does it align with the master plan? What are we doing to advance the things in the master plan? And our residents are really asking for quality of life things. Is the borrow for the bridge enough to build a recreation center that I know everybody's asking me for and everybody wants an aquatic center? And the reality of it is that no, the bridge bid didn't come in that low. And a rec center with an aquatic center is in the tens of millions of dollars. I don't have that. We don't have that without a significant impact to the tax rate, which is really an issue for the voters. But we do have some opportunities for some really cool projects that the Parks Board has asked me to investigate. And so they put us on a pretty quick timeline, and on Friday, Terry Moore and I and a group from Craftsman, who happens to be on our buy board, came to pay us a visit, and we looked at several parks in the area of what could be the potentials for some of this. And so I'd like to show you some of the very cool things that we are thinking could potentially happen in a very short order. Next slide, Colin. When Mr. Cervantes talks about a par 3, this is what he's talking about. These are the 15 acres we purchased right across from the convention center that aligns with keeping the recreation campus here as that convention center transitions into a civic center, transitions into a recreation center. And if we begin to think about this area as a recreation campus with that convention center ultimately being the recreation center, it makes perfect sense that across the street where we purchased 15 acres, a par 3 course could go. It is floodplain and floodway, so there's not a whole lot we can do on that piece of property other than some green space where folks can hit that ball around. The next, and is as improvement, this is a little bit out of order, is repair the recycle of the water at the existing splash pad. We've learned that a recycle is absolutely super expensive, and it is perhaps going to be easier for us to recapture the water at the splash pad to potentially water this very thing. So it's a reuse of the water. Improvements at Delgado Park include ADA accessible playground, which would be the first for the city, and a brand new splash pad. Improvements to Fireman's Park, that was one of the locations that we thought a splash pad would be great at. However, the existing ball field and the existing measurements for baseball make that field pretty much a one field area. I'm going to show you some very cool stuff that can go in that area because it warrants some improvements. Aligned with improvements to Fireman's Park, and it's not listed up here, is improvements to Kerr Park, which align to, Councilmember Lee, your request for a grant that had improved playground equipment more related to musical, as the Kerr family was known for its musical influence. Improvements to Mayfest Park, which includes a playground. We have a rodeo arena out there, but we really don't have any place for the kids to play. And there is a development to the east that is being planned there, and we will share some of the amenities, but this would be a park area dedicated directly to Mayfest Park. It is not enough for a complete cover to the rodeo arena. I wish it was. It is not. And then lastly, repairs to existing parks. We do have the MIT-MOD grant that we were talking about using it for Puerto Plata, which is that expansion that turns into 71. The area median income there is not enough for us to use that, so we have MIT-MOD money that we are going to be looking to replace or repair some erosion that essentially from Fisherman's Park all the way to Ferry Park. And we have very recent bulkhead repair bids, less than 6 months old, from the Corpus Christi area. So we have a fairly decent idea of what other monies could be available to repair those things, including repairs to sidewalk and things that are being caused by the erosion. So I'm about to show you some things on the screen. These are estimates. I don't want anybody to please, again, these are as we work our way in the next several weeks, as we work our way through the borrow, as we work our way through the final bond call, everything that you see on the screen plus the bridge improvement would be included in that initial borrow with no impact to the tax rate. This is what we can absorb. Colin, will you bring up let's bring up the par 3 first. That was a good sneak peek. Mr. Cervantes and his team have, because they're the experts, I don't have a resident golf expert, this is what a layout of a par 3 would look like. I've discussed it with the school district, very super excited. Obviously, the logistics are yet to be discussed. Parking, some of those outbuildings are in the area that are outside of the floodplain. But when we think about this course, we're thinking about a very minimalistic design because it is in a floodplain and a floodway. And those buildings would have to be modular on site. We're not looking at any super stick figure buildings. Pretty awesome layout. Okay, now you can pull up the Adobe. Yes. Yes. Next slide down, please. So Fireman's Park, that initially was the thought that we could perhaps carve out some space for a splash pad and a pretty wonderful area that paid homage to baseball, softball, because that is the most historic park. That quickly dissipated as we began to make the measurements. Just to do a correct ball field and diamond, it takes up that entire park. So what we did find is there's some ability for a playground in one of the corners and some shaded seating and some improvements to the ball dugouts. So would you show those pictures? It's a baseball theme to go along with the baseball park. That would be, and it would be a covered area with some benches and things that are nestled under the trees. This is just an example. It would be poured in place rubber, which is going to be new for all of our parks, brand new for all of our parks. Next slide, please. That's the project cost, about $225,000. Next slide, please. This is the park that's really super cool, in my belief. It is the splash pad and an ADA playground. The splash pad that we have is adequate and it bears a facelift, but again, I want to talk about the recirculation to the existing pad and give it a fresh pad. And until we can get the recirculation, think about perhaps some reduced play hours, make it a toddler park, something like that, reset. Our vendor talked about the settings where we could not lose so much water because apparently we have all of our jets turned on full speed, on how we can get the same sort of play with maybe not so much water loss. So can you go to the next slide, please? That's what a splash pad at Delgado Park would look like. Next slide, please. Any one of those options fit within the city's budget. That is a splash pad. That's a pretty expensive ask, but all of the things that you're seeing on the screen are within the anticipated borrow and the anticipated budget. Next. This would be an ADA accessible playground at Delgado Park. Any one of these particular playgrounds fits within the budget. Projected project cost. There are some alternatives to some of these projects if we do less of a project, next slide please. These are examples of where they've put those projects in. Next slide. Oh, sorry, we missed a slide. Go up one. Yeah, so there are ways to reduce the budget a little bit more if we did some modifications to the equipment that is being proposed. Next slide. These are project examples. We'll make sure that you have these slides. We just received these. Next slide. Mayfest Park, in keeping with the rodeo playground, with the rodeo theme, and the Loblolly Pines in that area. That is what a playground at Mayfest Park would look like. It is missing the cover, and so we've asked the vendor to go back and put a cover because Lord knows it is very, very hot out at Mayfest Park. Next slide. Those are some of the covers that are a little less expensive than the giant standalone covers. These are the types of covers we would be retrofitting at the Kerr Park over the existing playground. Next slide. There you go, playground shade and music. So there's a shade structure over, a hip shade over the existing playground that's been proposed, and then there's some example of some musical equipment in the Kerr Park. Now, some of the thought is, let's cover the basketball court instead of, and do the playground with that other hip type improvement that you saw on the other playground, because it is less expensive. Next slide. Probably the least expensive out of all of the parks because it is just a few musical equipments. Next slide. I think that's it. Yes. So, understanding that I am super fiscally conservative, all of these things would fit into the initial $15 million borrow that we thought was going to be what we thought we were going to borrow for the bridge. The bridge bid, you'll hear just in a little bit, came in at a little over 8 with a $2 million contingency, so that's 10, plus some third-party inspections of about 60. So that'll explain how I get to some of that, plus some of these have contingency. These are projects that the park board has discussed. We need to they haven't seen this presentation. They have a meeting this coming week that we will take these improvements to the park board. But to sort of get the best bang for the buck, these are the projects we thought we could fit in that would give pretty much all the areas of town a much needed attention. So happy to answer any questions.
Councilperson Lee, would you like to ask some questions?
Yes, I have some questions and comments. Great presentation. I loved the ideas for the parks. On the splash pad, the $100,000 was supposed to go towards the recirculation effort. Are you saying now you're realizing it's more than $100,000?
Some of the initial estimates are as much as 1.2 million.
Wow. Okay, so I got the firemen, you answered that question. Oh, splash pad, blah, 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 blah. On the, you said Kerr was 60,000 and that did not include shade over the basketball court. Do you have an estimate on the shade over the basketball court?
No, I do not. When they showed, if you'll go back to the Kerr picture, Colin, they showed a cover over Kerr. And after I got off the phone with the vendor, stop right there, stop right before Kerr, right there. So those covers that are attached and re-welded essentially to the play structure are much cheaper than an entire standalone hip structure. And so we talked about perhaps then putting a cover over the basketball, replacing some of the costs and put the cover over the basketball. I'll get an estimate for that.
Okay. And then on the bridge. So on the bridge, the original bid, before you, was 10-2 already. And then when or how did the cost go up to the 20 million that we thought it was going to be 20 million? Because the initial conversation under City Manager Linda Umble was that it was 10-2.
That was 10-2 prior to 2022. And I believe, Andres, who was the engineer? Was it Half and Associates or Elizabeth? Was it Freese and Nichols? Was it who? Kimley Horn.
Kimley Horn, yeah.
Kimley Horn, yes, gave us an estimate between $15 and $20 million. And if you go back to the bridge report that shows the scoring and their inspection, it talks about that number.
Well, Kimley Horn gave us the 10-2.
If you go back, there's a report that talks about 15 to 20 million. We'll get you.
Yeah.
We'll get you updated.
So it started out at 10-2. We went to 20. Why did we think, you're saying, to your recollection, Kimley Horn increased it to the 13?
Yes.
Okay. So we're kind of just actually going back to what it was before without losing, hopefully, any of the initial work that was going to be done. Are we still looking at 22 months? Because that was what the initial time frame was.
The engineer's here, I'll let him talk to that when we get to the next item, but
Okay.
I think the expectation is next summer,
Next summer is walkable?
2026, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Councilperson Meyer.
Thank you. I just want to say I've been sitting up here almost 2 years, and this is probably one of the most exciting meetings I've ever been at because the community is getting things that they have wanted for a long time, proposed things. One thing I want to point out on the Par 3 proposal at Farm, Cedar, and 95.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry, I left that.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You need to say, and then I'll.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Is that to think 2 years ago, or more than that, whatever, I was on planning and zoning at the time, we were planning on those 15 acres a proposed high-density development in a floodway that would have kept the neighbors underwater. And to think today we're talking about a par 3 golf course for green space is super exciting, but it's exciting for our residents. So that's the right direction to go. The other point that I want to say is on the Fireman's Park. It is so great that we're going to do something for the seniors living in that area, a little park that's covered, because we do have the senior housing that has been there for so long and so many neighbors in that area that have been neglected. And I love the baseball field, and I'm so happy we're keeping that baseball field because that's our history. But to enhance that is super exciting. So I'm just going to say, congratulations, Bastrop. You deserve this.
Councilmember Meyer, I did forget to mention the Par 3 golf course. There is a Veterans Memorial planned within that course also. So we're working on finalizing some of the details with that, discussing some options of pyrology and others on how to best bring that to fruition.
And I bet Miss Robbie Sanders can help us a lot with that. So we're going to count on you, Robbie. Thank you.
Council, any other questions?
Thank you for that presentation. Can we go back to the slide, Colin, for Delgado with the percussion? It was like a bees or beetles or something. Oh, was that Kerr? Gotcha. Caterpillar bell instead of being. I'm wondering if we're married to craftsmen. I just remember when I was on the Parks Board, we had a presentation from Percussion Play, and they brought in the instruments, and they were really quality sounding. I just hope the Parks Board can get a sound demo for these to make sure they're like good quality.
Sure.
Okay, awesome, thanks. That's all, thank you.
Yeah, we played those together.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, Council, any more questions on this? Okay, so we do have a comment signed up here for Lyle Nelson on this item.
Lyle Nelson, 209 North Hunting Lodge Lane here in Bastrop, Texas. This sounds very exciting for our citizens. I'm glad that some of this stuff is coming to fruition. One of the other tenets of quality of life is the ability of citizens to participate in an open government process. As of January 14th of this year, there was no mayor, there was no acting mayor, there's only a vacancy.
Point of order, I don't believe this is on the
Unless we're
agenda.
going to declare that our city charter
Yeah, so
and our section 201 of the Texas
Colin,
Election
please go to
Code
recess immediately. So, Mr. Nelson, if you'd like to continue speaking, you're welcome to do so. But please do not speak over others, especially when there's a point being made by a council member. And please stay on topic as well.
At that point in time, I had the floor, but I appreciate the admonition for that. That was pretty much the extent of my comments. I needed to provide a correction, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Heather Green would like to speak on this item as well.
Hello. Oh, sorry, I lost my voice. Heather Green, 2007 Pecan Street. I just want to take the time to thank Sylvia and all of you for the work that you do. Oh, I'm so sorry. For the work that you do. I know that getting the bid and everything with the bridge has been a big undertaking. Oh my goodness. A big undertaking, and realizing that we had extra money and not just sitting on it and waiting to see what we could do. We reached out to get a plan, and you touched every single neighborhood in the city of Bastrop. And I, as someone who lives on a side of town that has been neglected for a while, and not saying it's anyone specific, but there are things that can be done. I love the idea of the fact that not only will we have the first ADA park in the city of Bastrop, which is amazing, but also giving us the ability to have another splash pad. My kids absolutely love being outside, and being able to walk to a place where they can spend their summer would be amazing. So I appreciate all of the work that you guys have done, and the consideration to enhance Bastrop and make it a place that we want to live and stay in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Councilperson Plunkett, get your lights on.
Yeah, Ms. Green made an excellent point. I just wanted to underline it, I suppose. I mean, Sylvia, anybody else would have started a task force or we would have been 12 months into this before. I mean, this has been a matter of 10 days or so since you've got wind that it was going to be, like this. And, this is the exact kind of leadership we need at the city, and just thank you for that.
Thank you.
So that's the discussion there. I think in terms of next steps, Madam City Manager, I think it's to get us these presentations presented also to the Parks Board, summarize it in fewer pages, like one that would show us the total cost of each item with a description, and then also ask the Parks Board if there was anything perhaps instead. Maybe they've got a budget and a cut line, and maybe they would move one or two things above the cut line and one or two things below the cut line as they discuss it, to provide some guidance to council. But overall, this is pretty stinking exciting. Thank you. Okay. So I think we've all made comments here. We're now going to move on to item 4A, consider and act on resolution number R 2025-82, approving a construction contract with J. Reese Contractors for a not to exceed amount of $10,142,178.75 for the construction of Old Iron Bridge Rehabilitation Project. Ms. Wick.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. So the item you have before you today is a resolution approving a construction contract for the Old Iron Bridge Rehabilitation Project. In January 2024, the city entered into a professional service contract with Hewitt Dollars for the design and construction phase services for the bridge project. Earlier this month, the city received 4 bids for construction services. Hewitt Dollars provided a recommendation to award the construction contract for this project to J. Reese Contractors, who was the lowest responsible bidder. Next slide. The scope of the work, it's going to be a full rehab of the bridge, including the concrete deck, steel truss components, installation of railing, and decorative lights. Next slide. Oh, actually, can we go back? There it is. Okay, for the completion of the project, it is going to be 396 days from the start of construction. For clarification, once we get the contract award signed, there's going to be about a 2-month period where the contractor is working on submittals. There's a lot of pre-con submittals involved with this project to make sure the work goes smoothly. And then we're expecting by the 3rd month, they will start to mobilize. When they mobilize, the 396 days will take effect. So it is a little bit later than summer, the late 3rd quarter of 2026, September-ish. So just wanted to clarify that so we're all on the same page. But the pre-con submittals are very important for this project, just for the sequence of work. So they have 2 months to do that, and they've told us that beforehand so that we are aware of it, and I'm letting y'all aware of it. Next slide. The bridge is located near downtown, and it crosses the Colorado River, and it parallels State Highway 150 bridge. Next slide. The funding is from the Certificate of Obligation Bonds proceeds, and as Sylvia said, we have a 25% contingency on this project, which is essentially the extra $2 million. If it's not used, the project is just the $8 million, but the not to exceed limit is going to be for the $10 million. Any questions?
Councilperson Meyer, question?
Not really a question. I just want to tell Mayor Tom Scott that it looks like we'll be walking across that bridge in the fall instead of summer, but it'll be cooler, so we'll be happy to do that.
Councilperson Lee?
Can you go back to the slide that talks about the work?
So the second bullet point is just saying what the bridge is composed of. And it's just going to be a full rehabilitation, which includes the concrete deck on both sides of the bridge, and the steel truss is, it's the pretty part of the bridge. And then there'll be railing along the steel truss because currently there's just the chain link, and that needs to come down. But the current spacing there is not ADA compliant nor safety. So we're going to install some railing there and then decorative lights along the south side of the bridge for safety.
Can we talk about what that repair is going to look like? Are they putting like a cover over the bridge because of the lead and the erosion? Can we talk about what that's going to look like for the city? She's pointing to.
Have y'all been by LaGrange? They did the rehab of the LaGrange bridge there, and I've been driving by it for the past year. And it's going to be very similar to that, to where you'll see it in different stages. In some stages, when they do the sandblasting, it's going to be completely covered, where the park below it, there will be pedestrian walkway, so there's no fear of anything falling. But for the different stages, it's going to look different. It's not going to look like one thing the entire 396 days. So sometimes it won't be covered, sometimes it will, depending on their work, but it will be to top safety.
Well, I'm glad you brought up under the bridge because I was thinking above, because our path goes right under that bridge. Will a section of the path be blocked off at some point because of the construction that's going on?
It's expected to be blocked off for only about a week when they need to mobilize down there, but the path will remain open for the duration of the project.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions, council? We have a comment in case. So there, Councilperson Foster, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. A few years ago, when we talked about the 3 different bids that came through, I remember it was like $8 million to tear it down, $10 million to rebuild it, and 15 or 18 to rebuild it like a park. And we mentioned, or there was the comment that it needed to be narrower because of that it needed to come in anyway on one of the sides, and it could be taken in on the sides or like done like a meandering. Like, is it coming in at all, or is it going to be the same width? Is it?
It's going to be the same width. There was some talk of having it as a hanging structure for a viewing area. That is not structurally sound, so that is not allowed to happen on this bridge. But it's going to be the same width. There is going to be decorative concrete, and there will be benches in the middle, so it will give rise to more of a meandering flow across the bridge, but it is the same width.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Councilperson Meyer.
Thank you. And that just reminded me that comment that I remember when we worked on the Parks Master Plan, and some of the pictures that I saw of the Old Iron Bridge, I didn't even know what the bridge was. It morphed into something that wasn't even the Old Iron Bridge. So I'm so happy that it really is the Old Iron Bridge. We just have some benches, but we didn't do these little jut-out things that made it look in outer space. So I'm happy it is authentic Old Iron Bridge.
Councilmember Meyer, I'm sure Mr. Kessler somewhere is upset that you're calling it an iron bridge.
I'm sorry, Ken. The Colorado River Bridge, is that what he would prefer?
Okay, so we have a citizen's comment on this item. Melinda Larson, 4A.
Melinda Larson, 1320 Farm. My theme tonight is the City of Bastrop seal? Is that what that would be, a seal? That says preservation of the past, progress for the future. In the past, before our city manager Sylvia and our current council, the only time I ever heard that, or those words spoken, were at council meetings, and they were by Bastrop residents. And in a way, they were used against the city, kind of a reminder that you better go by your own rules and standards that you set for our city. It was always used as a reminder that the city must preserve the past, almost like a or else or demand. I never really respected those words until now, and it's because of you, Sylvia, and our city council. The passing of the B3 code amendments to protect Old Town, the casino, thanks to Judy Hoover and her friends, and you, and now Old Iron Bridge rehab are all structures or codes that are put in place by you to protect our historical significance and what has meaning to most of us. Tonight, I feel like the city would be giving us a gift. You're building trust and preserving our past while planning for our future. And I thank you so very much for all your hard work and all you do for our city and its residents. And in closing, I would like to ask, do I need to get insurance for golf balls coming through my windows? Thank you.
Okay, council, we've laid this one out. We have completed our questions and citizens' comments. It is now motion time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilperson Meyer, a second from Councilperson Lee. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 4A passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 4B. Consider and act on resolution number R 2025-86, approving an engineering professional services contract with Dial Development Services LTD or DDS to provide construction services for the Old Iron Bridge project for a not to exceed amount of $60,480.00. Ms. Wick.
Good evening. So this item ties with the previous resolution, and it's regarding the quality assurance construction inspection services for the bridge project. Are there any questions regarding it, or I don't have any slides for this one. It's very cut and dry.
Council, any questions? We have no one signed up for citizens' comments on this item.
Second.
Motion to approve from Councilperson Plunkett, a second from Councilperson Meyer. Discussion, Councilperson Foster.
As I understand it, it's daily inspections that they're uploading information to MyGov. Is that what this is? Is it daily?
No. This is construction quality assurance construction inspection. They go out there. I believe they have it for. It's in the agenda packet. What his scope says.
Yeah, I thought I saw it daily.
I don't have the top of my head,
If
I'm
so-
sorry. I know it's 2 hours for something, but I don't remember how many times a week.
If so, let's time lapse it. That'd be great.
I'm sure we have Colin.
Yeah, he's gonna do probably daily, but he does visits. He has several employees that work for him. They're gonna do, just like they do all of our other projects, they'll drop in and on special inspection times, like concrete pours, certain times he coordinates those. So that may be once a week, and they may see him every couple of weeks. It just depends on the amount of work that they're doing.
Okay, gotcha. And it's all uploaded into MyGov, and so everybody can see it on your end, and I'm just curious how it works.
Yeah, we will track it through MyGov. He just usually sends us the reports, and then we keep those in a separate folder for CIP projects.
Okay.
CIP projects generally don't go into MyGov because those are the public or the private ones, but we can track it in MyGov. But
Okay.
either way, yes, we will document and have the documentation behind it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, so the motion carries unanimously. Council, we're now on to item 5, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from Councilperson Lee.
Second.
Second from Councilperson Plunkett. We've completed all our business and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.